All right, hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. Got some weird drama on Heritage. Maybe not. I don't know. Last week, Attic Fine Friday was the Boston Garters complete set versus each of the 12 cards broken up individually. And I asked on that video, what's the best strategy for this? And I didn't account for the fact that Heritage might not know what the best strategy is or how to manage different strategies either. So I was hipped to this, as the kids might say. Uh, so a few people sent me or commented, "Hey, you should read this Net 54 forum." But somebody who goes by Board Z actually sent me the link via email. So I want to thank Board Z. I think was the YouTube channel name with like 200,000 subscribers. So thanks for sending that to me. Um, it's a very interesting one, and first of all, the Net 54 crowd is way smarter about baseball cards than me, or maybe most of you. Not all of you, of course. I know a lot of you are baseball card savants. They also, in this thread that I'm going to show you, uh, there seem to be multiple attorneys and people who are big spenders with Heritage and other auction houses. I mean, I dabble in 100, $200 cards. These guys are dabbling in 100,000, $200,000 cards, and it's fascinating. It's really interesting to read, and there's not a person in there that sounds dumb. They're all very smart, know what they're talking about, uh, mostly very respectful of each other. So I'm going to start. I'm going to share my screen here. I want to know what you think about this situation. I have like 31 tabs to go through, I think, is what I counted yesterday. I started reading through this on Monday. I read through it more yesterday. I reached out to a couple people yesterday, and I'm doing the video now. I didn't hear back from anybody, so I'll show you that a little bit. So here we go. Let's make sure that this is working. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we were looking at. This is the 1914 Boston Garters color. You can go back and watch my video on Friday of last week. They were all low grade because they were pasted into an album for the most part, although they did have a 3 in there, which I think was the highest. Yeah, so they're all ones, 1.5s, 2s. And they put it up the whole set, and they put up each individual card, and then the lot that that received the most in bids would win. So you either would win the set if that received bids totaling more than all 12 of the individual cards added up. So they might be splitting up the 12 between multiple people, or 12 people, or you could go and bid on all 12 and win all 12, or they would sell it to the set buyer. So this was the very first post in here in the thread on Net 54, and I'll show you there were a lot more. So then this person, Aaron Seafelt, who bought one, I'll show you that, looks like the individuals finished ahead of the group, $650,000. The individual cards, all of them added up to $650,000. The set was, the high bid was $630,000. So pretty close, pretty neat. Here's one that Aaron won. Frank Home Run Baker. And then Powell Miller. I've never heard of Powell Miller until this. Wrote, and this is the 54th post in the thread. He writes, I bid for the set in extended hours. The bid said I was winning. I waited 30 minutes and no bids. The website said I won the set. Same this morning. And later that morning, it said I lost. I understood that the bid on the set had to be higher than the total of individual lots. I didn't understand I had to add up all the individual lots myself in the middle of the night. Other auction houses tell you if the individual lots are ahead, I would have bid higher had I known. If it got too high, there were individual cards I would have gone for. I felt misled and deserved better treatment after bidding more than $600,000 for the entire set and not learning until late morning that I lost. The consignor lost too. It's a bad day for me. for Heritage and the consigner, but a good one for the good people who ended up being deemed high bidder on the individual lots, as I had no warning I needed to bid again, and the website said otherwise. So uh, normally, when I see somebody saying, "Oh, I deserve better treatment," I bid on this, they're usually complaining about like a $5 card, and I'm like, okay, whatever, guy. Powell Miller here bid $650,000. There's more to it, and I'm going to get into it. But this got me wondering, who is Powell Miller? Well, I'll tell you. Powell Miller is a Michigan attorney, E. Powell Miller, who consigned his T206, one of the hobby's best T206 sets. This is Sports Collectors Daily. Consigned it with Heritage Auctions in 2020. So I went and I looked that up. By the way, I want to see, was there anything else in this one? Yeah. So here's what I believe is the auction. You can see I've got selected the 2020 October Powell Miller 1909 to 1911 T206 PSA set registry catalog auction. And I've got it sorted by high prices first. So here's the Eddie Plank, 312,000, Cy Young Portrait, 99,000, Vic Willis with bat, 96,000, 81,000. I mean, I don't know I didn't add all this up, but there are 522 items here. So Powell Miller is a legit Heritage customer and consigner, somebody that you want to keep happy if you're Heritage, in my opinion. And I thought he was very professional in his message. He's happy for the winners of the individual, and I've got this little tiny bug flying around here. Happy for the individual winners, so he's not mad at them at all. So let's move on. Now, this person writes, watched this unfold and was cringing for the high bidder on the entire set lot. Heritage screwed this up so badly it was impossible to believe. So what was happening was that Powell was bidding on the entire set, and he could see how much I guess somebody was adding it up in a thread somewhere. Uh, he knew how much he needed to bid to win it, and at the time that the auction for the full set ended, he was in the lead over the 12 individuals, as my understanding is. Let me see if this explains it. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Powell said that they didn't call him. He went to bed with so people, and I've skipped a couple here, just people saying, "Wow, what happened? What happened?" He went to bed with his account saying he won. No one called, and this is where he says he consigned his wall of cards T206 to Heritage and have bought countless treasures from Heritage. In the morning, his account said he won. He didn't learn until he was reading Net 54 that he had lost. And he checked again on his Heritage account and it changed from won to lost. No one called him. He learned after that he was locked out on the set and went to sleep with a web saying he won, but they let the individual lots bid for an extra 30 minutes after the set ended. He says, "I'm disgusted with the shabby way I was treated, and the consigner should be livid." And he's right, because the consigner could have made more money had they tied these two together. So you've got the set, and then you have the 12 individuals. These 12 individuals continued to bid after the set ended. And he was not able to continue to bid while the individuals were being bid up. They got extended bidding on the individuals, not for the set. Powell writes, I am the rightful winner of the set. The set closed ahead of the individual lots, and I was declared the winner. There was no basis to permit bids on the individual lots after the set was sold to me, and I could no longer bid on the set. We'll see if Heritage makes this right. And so I have read through this entire thread, so you don't need to. He says, I've consigned millions of dollars worth of cards to Heritage and purchased millions of dollars in cards and other memorabilia from Heritage. I have found Chris and Derek to be extremely professional and have recommended them to many. As I now understand that the individual lots remained open after the set was sold to me, those bids are legally a nullity. The set was sold to me clear and simple and fair and square. This is now fair to the consigner. I think this should be. This is not fair to the consigner because the lot closed. I believe that Heritage is the best auction house in the world and will do the right thing. I mean, how do you? He's so professional and he's obviously very upset, but he continues to compliment Heritage and holds faith in them. So we keep on. I'm skipping over a bunch of people just kind of being like, wow, I can't believe this happened. There's some people who are arguing with him, telling him he's wrong, but for the most part, people are very supportive. I feel terrible for the individual lot winners, but it's actually very simple. The set lot closed and I was declared the winner. The hammer fell. The post sale bids are a nullity. I have an authentic Joe Jackson Boston Garter, 1914 Herzog, and a 2012, I think that should be 1912 Boston Garter. I'm happy to work out sales to the bidders on those two and even sell my 1912 Garter if those bidders are interested to mitigate this problem. I mean, this is really darn fair. I feel strongly that I didn't do anything wrong, and once the set sold, it sold. There was offer and acceptance. I was told by the web the auction closed. I went to sleep. Okay. Now we skip to, oh, this is somebody just explaining how other auction houses have completed this type of deal before. So at the top here, it says the current high bid for the complete set, $246,000, is greater than the aggregate total of the bids on the single cards that comprise the set, $242,000. So you know, as you're bidding, how close you are. And here's another one, same situation. Yeah, same car, same set actually. Um, so this person just a lot of people are saying, well, how do other auction houses handle this type of thing? And this person was being very helpful here. Um, And then back to Aaron again. Oh, yeah. Aaron was trying to demonstrate that the set was showing as not sold, but this was on the first, and the auction ended the 2 days before that, I think. So Powell responds, it says not sold now, but that's not what it said last night and this morning. My account identified the set in my win column and then changed it later Saturday morning. This person kind of goes into the legality of it, saying that Heritage Live frequently asked questions says when the lot closes, a message in green indicating you won will be displayed. In addition, you can check the item status in the realized prices tab. And then later on, it says you will receive an email confirmation immediately following the auction, followed by an email invoice, and asks, do these conflict? And no confirmation from Powell if he received an invoice. But we're going to get a little bit further into that. This person, again, three things are true here. Entirely Heritage's fault by not knowing how to run this particular type of auction. Powell is a huge consignor and customer, and the consigner of the Boston Garters lost money due to Heritage error. At the very least, Heritage has to redo the auction. At the time Powell was prevented from bidding anymore, he was the rightful winner, while the rest of them were supposedly continuing to bid for the individual cards. And then they talk about, Leland's was another group that does this. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. If Leland's was capable of doing the right thing by not trying to force payment from the winner and my client of the Tom Brady final TD pass football, which wasn't his final TD pass when he announced his comeback the day after the auction ended, somehow I think Heritage is capable of being fair here as well. So now we know this guy is the is somehow tied to the winner of that first Tom Brady final TD pass in football. Then we're up to post number 83. Powell, I believed at the time that the set beat the individual lots or would not have closed the lot with me as the winner. I did not think I had to do the math myself in the middle of the night and add up the 12 individual lots to confirm that I won. I now see, thanks to astute folks on this board, that not only did the lot close with me as the winner, the set was higher than the individual lots at the time the set was closed. This is a clear case that I won the lot when the hammer went down by the rules. I went to sleep happy and excited. It was wrong to then allow continuing bids on the individual lots after the set closed. Seems logical to me. This person again, Mile High has done it well. Every time you bid on either the individual lots or the full set, you get an alert on the totals of the individual lots versus full set. No auction has ever allowed the full set lot to end. while the individual lots continue to run. Bad software programming. Yes. All right, back to Powell. My position is that since the set lot closed and they involved every card, and I could not bid again if I wanted to, the cards were sold to me, and the subsequent bids on individual lots were a nullity. The virtual hammer went down and the lots were sold. This is a strong case by itself. Seems to be right. Astute members of the board observed that the set price was higher than the sum of the individual lots when the set closed. This clinches it as there's no reasonable counterposition. He continues to have confidence in heritage auctions. He does not want to sell them. He wants to display them publicly for the world to see and keep this great story alive for many years. I want to be friends with Powell Miller. Uh, and then he talks about selling his existing ones again. So now we're over 100 posts in the thread. I did bid in extended time, he says to somebody. My bid was accepted and I waited the full 30 minutes afterwards. I checked my account and it said I won. I lost my other bids and they were correctly identified as losers. Saturday morning, I looked up my account and the set was listed as a winner. I learned otherwise from this board later in the morning. The set lot ended with me the winner. Blah, blah, blah. I'm optimistic. Heritage will do the right thing. He's quite the optimist here. It's not your fault, and I don't blame you because he's responding to somebody, the original guy who won that home run Baker card. I'm a professional trial lawyer, and I would never let my clients get screwed by making a deal and having the rug pulled out from under them. I have had great relations with Heritage, so I'm confident it won't end up in court, but no fair-minded person could say that I didn't win this set fair and square. All right, this person, here is an analogy, and I don't know how good this analogy is. The Eagles are playing the Lions. The rules state that whoever has the most points at the end of 60 minutes wins. When the clock expires after 60 minutes, the Lions are winning 30-20. But then, for some reason, the Eagles are given the chance to keep playing until either they score more than 30 points or give up. All the while, the Lions are stuck in the locker room and not able to defend their victory. While I'm sure there are Eagles fans who would declare this legit, my gut is all other NFL fans would declare the Lions the proper victor. Yeah. All right. Uh, and he repeats that he's happy to sell his existing cards. And he says he doesn't believe, this is Powell again, there should be a redo as the set was sold to him. At worst, he should have to pay $1 more than the high bids on the individual lots. Okay. And then he says the software didn't allow the bidding to continue for him. It said he won. He's open to a reasonable solution, as he stated earlier. He doesn't want to take this further, but won't be steamrolled either. And again, I usually see this type of comment much more angrily and about like $5 cards on eBay. But this is a $650,000 deal. And he's so calm about it, so rational. All right, we've got old judge here. Software said you won because it can't see the linkage between the individual and aggregate lots. Right. It's true, but it should. Even if there was a separate page added to the auction that showed the total of the individual lots as compared to the aggregate lot, software wouldn't let an aggregate lot bidder bump his own bids to catch up if he was behind. Whew. All right. Mile High and Mastro, I don't know how much we want to be citing Mastro, avoided this issue because all lots closed at once, not individually, and all lots showed which total was winning, set or individuals. All right, we're up over 200 posts in this thread now. And then I don't remember why I kept this one. This person was one of the few people who was not in agreement with Powell. Powell keeps declaring by fiat that him being the high bidder on the set at the time that lot closed somehow just magically nullifies the other individual auctions. This is, of course, ridiculous. Just invoking this magical rule because it's the only way he wins. This person does agree it was a terrible strategy by Heritage to begin with because their software isn't capable of handling dual options. Powell obviously disagrees. I mean, once the gavel drops and the set was sold, it's over. It's absurd to say the individual lots could be bid to later, overtake the set after the bidding on the set was locked out. That's clearly wrong. And then Powell wired the full set price to Heritage this morning. I hope that they do the right thing. I appreciate the debate and everyone's comments, even those who disagree with my conclusions. I don't think anyone disagrees the set lot should have closed if it wasn't closed. Uh, yeah, I mean, and then somebody called him a sore loser, and he said he doesn't appreciate being called a sore loser. He's lost thousands of lots over the years with no complaint. He believes he won it legitimately. I didn't see any point where Powell was being a sore loser. I read through every single comment on this thread. Uh, this is funny. Somebody commented, "Geez, it's just cards," and somebody else said, "I don't think we say that around here." That's right. So here we are, 252 posts in. Powell, after emailing them, said that he got what he would describe as a blow off email from Heritage, not even the courtesy of a phone call. So at this point, this was, he posted this on Monday. I was reading it yesterday afternoon. I sent a private message to Powell asking him if there was an update, asking him if I was going to do a video, if he wanted to say anything. He did not respond to my message, but he did post something late last night saying he's moving on. It was a bad scene. He's not suing anybody. He hopes Aaron enjoys his card. It wasn't his fault. It's so rational. He's never thought he should get special treatment because he spends a lot of money. I don't know. I think Heritage would probably disagree with him. He should have had a fair chance to compete. The set lot was doomed, and there is the unfairness. Anyway, I hope this experience reduces the risk it ever happens again. I appreciate the support from many of you. There are passionate collectors, many great people on this board, whom I've learned a lot from. Man, what a guy. Let me know what you think about this. Did Heritage mess this up very badly? Was Powell in the wrong? I think Heritage messed it up very badly. I I think that Powell probably had a case. I don't really know. I'm not a lawyer, but I really respect the way he went about this and the fact that he's moving on. He's finding something else to do. Let me know in comments. Thanks very much for watching.